You've probably spent a few too many evenings staring at a patio set that looks great in the catalog but ends up feeling more like a maintenance nightmare or a seat that sags after one summer. You want something that actually lives up to the promise of being reliable, easy to live with, and worth every penny you're putting down, not just a list of buzzwords that sound good on paper. That hesitation is real, especially when you're juggling a limited balcony space, kids, pets, and the occasional wind-blown leaf. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I started looking for a new lounge chair, I narrowed it down to a few key concerns: how the material holds up against sun, rain, and the occasional clumsy spill, whether the cushion stays firm after a season of daily use, and if the piece is light enough to move around without needing a second set of hands. The Purple Leaf Patio Lounge Chair checks a lot of boxes, but it also has a few trade-offs that show up once you actually sit in it for a weekend barbecue or a lazy Sunday nap. First off, the chair's frame is powder-coated aluminum. That immediately signals two things to me: it won't rust when you leave it out in the damp after a rainstorm, and it's light enough to slide from the deck to the garden without a grunt. I tested that by pulling the chair across a concrete patio while holding a tray of drinks. It moved smoothly, and the armrests didn't wobble even when I leaned heavily on them. The powder coating also gives it a sleek, low-maintenance look that doesn't show fingerprints as much as a glossy finish would. The fabric is olefin, a synthetic that's often praised for its resistance to UV fading and mold. In practice, that means you can leave this chair out in direct sun for months without it turning that once vibrant nurture shale into a dull gray. I left the chair under a patio umbrella for about 3 weeks, and the color stayed true. The surface didn't attract dust like some cheaper polyester chairs do, and it dried quickly after a light drizzle. The material also repels water, so a spilled drink just beads up and slides off rather than soaking into the weave. Now, comfort is where many patio chairs stumble. The Purple Leaf comes with a 3-inch thick cushion that's glued directly onto the seat and backrest. That thickness feels substantial enough to support a relaxed recline, but not so plush that you sink in and lose proper support. After a few hours of lounging with a book, I didn't notice any sagging in the cushion, and the edges stayed firm. That durability is a big plus if you're planning on using the chair daily through the summer and want it to stay comfy for the next year. Weight capacity is listed at 330 pounds, which is comfortably higher than the average adult. In real terms, this means the chair can handle a bigger person or someone who likes to drape a blanket over the back without any creaking. I tested it with a friend who's 260 pounds, and the chair held steady even when he shifted his weight to the side to reach for a cold drink. There's no flex in the frame, and the armrests remain rock solid. What the chair doesn't do as well is blend into a very tight, minimalist balcony where every inch counts. While the aluminum frame is lightweight, the overall footprint of the lounge, including the wide armrests, takes up more space than a simple folding chair. If your outdoor area is barely larger than a coffee table, you might find it a bit too imposing. It also doesn't fold up for storage. You'll need to keep it on the patio year-round or find a corner in a garage. For those who love to tuck everything away during winter, that could be a downside. Another practical consideration is the price point. It sits in the mid-range for patio furniture, not cheap, but not luxury either. The value really comes from the combination of weatherproof materials and the thick, long-lasting cushion. You won't need to replace the cushion after a season, which you often end up doing with cheaper sets that flatten or develop mildew. In that sense, the chair pays for itself over time, especially if you're planning on using it regularly. Who should buy this chair? If you have a moderately sized patio, deck, or garden nook and you want a piece that looks sleek, stays comfortable in the sun, and can handle a heavier user without wobbling, this is a solid pick. It's also a good choice for families with kids who might accidentally knock the chair over. The sturdy armrests and heavy-duty frame mean it's less likely to tip. Pet owners will appreciate the olefin fabric's resistance to stains and its quick-dry nature after a dog jumps up. Who should skip it? If you live in a very small balcony where space is at a premium, or you prefer furniture that folds flat for indoor storage, you might be better off with a more compact,